You're still paying for choices your past self made years ago. Not just in money, but in time, stress, and energy you don't get back. You stay in the wrong major, the dead subscription, the dying relationship, the useless business idea because you feel too deep to quit. That quiet force in your head has a name, the sunk cost fallacy. Today, you'll see how it silently controls your decisions, how to spot it in real time, and how to cut those costs without blowing up your whole life. There's one mental flip that changes everything. Stay for that. Let's start simple. Sunk cost fallacy is when you care more about what you've already spent than about what you can still gain. In other words, you let your past budget control your future strategy. Think of life like sitting at a casino table that's clearly rigged against you. You're losing, the odds are bad, but you keep telling yourself, I can't leave, I already bought in. Rationally, the only question that matters is, from this moment on, is this the best place to put my chips? But your brain keeps staring at the money already on the table. That's the trap. Your brain does this for a few reasons. First, loss aversion. Losing hurts more than winning feels good. Psychologists have shown that, on average, a loss hits about twice as hard as a similar gain feels good. So you'll work way harder to not lose what you already spent than to chase a better option. Second, ego protection. If you walk away, it feels like you're admitting, I was wrong, and your ego hates that. It would rather keep you stuck than let you update your story. Third, fear of judgment. You don't want to look flaky, stupid, or inconsistent in front of other people, so you defend the old choice instead of defending your future. Now watch how this plays out in everyday life. You picked a college major at 18. You're 3 years in, you hate the work, the career path bores you, but your brain says, I've already come this far. I can't throw away 3 years. So you trade the next 40. You're in a relationship that's draining you. You fight the same fights, you've grown in different directions, but you tell yourself, after everything we've been through, I can't just leave. So you donate your future peace to honor your past. You launched a side hustle that never took off. Sales are flat. You're burned out. But you keep paying for software, ads, and late nights because I've already invested so much. You're pouring new money and new energy into a bet that already proved itself. Here's the real cost. Every hour you keep in a dying path is an hour you don't put into a better one. Every dollar you keep in a bad play is a dollar you can't use elsewhere. Your mental bandwidth is finite. If it's stuck defending an old decision, it's not available to design a better strategy. The key distinction is this: investment versus attachment. Investment looks forward. It asks, given what I know right now, does this still have a strong upside? It's willing to cut, redirect, and change when the data changes. Attachment stares backward. It asks, how can I make the past not feel like a mistake? That question keeps you locked. Most people call attachment loyalty, grit, or being consistent. But it's often just fear in better clothes. The thing is, once you see this, you can't unsee it. So the next step is learning how to catch it while it's happening, not just in hindsight. Let's move from the theory into spotting the exact sentences and feelings that tell you, I'm trapped by my past right now. So how do you know if you're in this trap right now? Start with one brutal question. If you had zero history with this, no years invested, no money spent, no promises made, would you start it today? Ask that about your degree, your job, your relationship, your business, your subscription list. If the honest answer is no, that's a red flag. You might not need to leave tomorrow, but you should stop pretending you're there by choice alone. Then there's the language test. Listen to how you justify staying. Do your sentences start with, I've already, or I still could? I've already spent 3 years on this major. I've already put so much money into this business. I've already been with them for 5 years. That's past-focused. That's sunk cost logic. Future-focused sounds different. Staying in this major sets me up for X. Keeping this business going has a realistic shot at Y. Continuing this relationship helps me grow in Z way. If you can't finish those future sentences without stretching, you're probably stuck. Another sign, you feel guilt or shame not logic, when you think about quitting. If you picture yourself dropping the major, closing the business, or ending the relationship, and your first wave is, "I'm such an idiot for getting into this," or "people will think I'm a failure," that's ego talking, not strategy. Your brain is defending your image, not your outcome. There's also the get back to even trap. You buy into some hype investment, it tanks. Now, instead of asking, "Where's the best place for my money today?" you tell yourself, "I'll just wait until it gets back to what I paid." You're anchoring on an old number the market does not care about. That's sunk cost in pure form, chasing a ghost price so you don't feel like you lost. Let's walk through some deeper examples. Take your degree path. You might be on year 3 of a major you hate, but the story in your head is, "I can't waste all that time and tuition." So you're willing to protect that sunk cost by sacrificing your future earnings, engagement, and options. The irony is that switching now, even if it adds a year, could give you decades of higher income and better fit. You're trading 40 years to rescue 3. Same with a toxic relationship. You tell yourself, "We've been through so much together, we have history." You remember vacations, inside jokes, hard seasons you survived, so you stay to honor the story, not because of the current and future reality are healthy. You're paying with your peace, your focus, and your chances of meeting someone aligned, just to avoid feeling like those years were for nothing. With money, the system is designed to lean on your sunk cost. Long gym contracts, prepaid memberships, annual software plans, these aren't just convenience. They're built on the bet that once you've paid, you'll keep showing up or keep renewing. Because I already spent so much, I don't want it to go to waste. Companies know loss aversion runs your brain, so they frame everything as, "Don't waste what you already paid," instead of, "Is this still worth it now?" That pressure you feel to justify an old choice has a price. Call it the ego tax. The ego tax is what you pay to keep your self-image intact. You defend the degree because admitting it's wrong hurts. You defend the business because your brand is entrepreneur. You defend the relationship because your identity is loyal. So you keep paying time, money, energy, not for results, but for the right to say, "I wasn't wrong back then." Here's the reframe that cuts through that. Past costs are tuition, not debt. Tuition is money you pay to learn. Once it's paid, your only job is to use the lesson to make better moves. Debt is something you still owe that drags you forward. Most people treat their past mistakes like debt. "I owe it to my past self to make this work." You don't. You already paid. The class is over. So when you catch yourself saying, "I can't walk away because I've already..." Stop and translate it. I paid tuition to learn that this path doesn't work the way I thought. From there, the only rational goal is protecting your future returns, not rescuing your past bet. If you can start seeing sunk costs as prepaid education, you stop being the person defending old choices and start being the strategist reallocating resources. And that's where we're heading next. How to actually cut these losses in a way that doesn't blow up your life or your identity. So how do you actually do this without nuking your whole life? First, you need to adjust the story. You're not quitting life, you're reallocating resources like a strategist. You're taking time, money, and energy out of low-yield assets and moving them into higher return ones. Same you, better allocation. Step 1. Reset the scoreboard. Treat today as day. Forget what you spent. Forget how long you've been in it. Ask one clean question. Knowing only what I know right now, what's my best move going forward? Take your current job. Don't think about the years you've put in, the late nights, the projects. Look at the next 12 months. If you stay, what's the realistic upside? Skills, money, network, credibility? If you switch paths, what's the realistic upside there? Put it on paper. When you separate the emotional story from the numbers, the better move often becomes embarrassingly obvious. Same with the side hustle. Write down how much time and money go in each week, and what's the real, not imagined, upside left. Not the fantasy version where everything suddenly explodes. The version that matches the last 6 to 12 months of reality. Step 2. Define your future return line. You need a threshold that says, if this can't reasonably produce X by Y date, I exit. X might be money, skill, peace, or flexibility. Y is a real deadline, not someday. For a side hustle, that could be, if this can't reliably bring in X per month within 6 months, I either pivot the model or shut it down. For a degree, it might be, if staying on this track doesn't clearly improve my earning power or alignment. Compared to switching, I switch at the end of this semester. For a habit like gaming 5 hours a day, it could be, if I can't keep this under X hours a week without wrecking my work or health, I cut it hard. The point isn't to be dramatic, it's to turn vague anxiety into concrete rules. Step 3, pre-commit to exit rules. You can't trust your future self in the middle of fear. You'll rationalize everything, so you write your exit conditions now while you're calm. Literally write, I will stop doing X if A, B, and C are still true by this date. This is how traders avoid holding dying positions forever. They set stop-loss levels before emotions kick in. This is how serious founders shut down products that don't work. They decide the kill metrics early. You're using the same logic on your life. You're protecting yourself from your own sunk cost bias. Step 4, preserve the upside of the loss. Ending the path doesn't mean erasing what you gained. You deliberately extract value before you leave. List out, what skills did I build? What systems did I learn? Who did I meet? What data did I gather about what doesn't work for me? If you spent 2 years on a degree you won't finish, what writing, research, or communication skills did you level up? What topics did you learn you hate, which is just as valuable as learning what you love? That's information you can cash in elsewhere. If a business failed, maybe you learned marketing basics, operations, or how to talk to customers. You can reuse those in your next role or project. That's the paid training mindset. You turned money and time into experience. That's not wasted unless you refuse to use it. Step 5, social and identity adjustment. This is the part most people fear, so let's defuse it. When you tell people you're changing direction, keep it honest, brief, and future-focused. Something like, I thought this path would lead here. It didn't. I learned a lot, and now I'm aiming at X instead. You don't owe anyone a 40-slide presentation about your decision. The deeper move is this. Detach your identity from specific paths. You're not the engineering major, the crypto guy, or the long-term relationship person. You're the person who optimizes capital, time, money, energy toward better outcomes. Roles change. That core identity stays stable. To make this real, do a 10-minute audit. Grab a note. List 5 areas: money, career, habits, relationships, projects. Under each, write one thing you're still doing mostly because of what you already spent. Then ask the day question. If I had 0 history, would I start this today? Circle just one where the answer is clearly no. Don't pick the scariest one first. Choose a small one, a dead subscription, a minor project, a low-stakes habit. Design a tiny exit or downscale move this week. Cancel, pause, or cap it. That small rep teaches your brain a crucial lesson. Cutting sunk costs doesn't kill you. It frees you. And every time you do it, you buy back more future freedom. The real price of old choices isn't what you already spent, it's what you keep sacrificing to defend them. You can treat every sunk cost as prepaid tuition and move your time, money, and energy into better bets starting today. As Hal Arkus and Catherine Bloomer defined it, the sunk cost effect is the tendency to continue an endeavor once an investment in money, effort, or time has been made. Once you see that pattern in your own life, you stop serving your past and start reallocating everything toward a better future. If this helped you spot even one thing you need to cut, like the video and subscribe. Then watch the next breakdown on how the system is designed to trap your attention and your money, so you can stop bleeding value there too.
See you in the next one.